It begins with a mystery one that sits quietly behind polished glass, stitched into luxury handbags, hidden in the shine of monogrammed leather. Because behind the world's most famous fashion house lies a story few people ever hear. A story of secret wars, quiet betrayals, and a rise to power built not just on craftsmanship, but on strategy, conflict, and moves so bold they reshaped the entire luxury world. This is the hidden story of Louis Vuitton. Most people know the brand for its elegance, its exclusivity, its place in Hollywood closets and on the arms of celebrities. But the story doesn't begin in a glamorous boutique. It begins with a young boy named Louis, walking alone for hundreds of miles across rural France in the 1830s. His mother had died, his stepmother mistreated him, and at just 13, he left home with nothing but determination and the clothes he wore. He walked for 2 years before reaching Paris, sleeping in barns and working odd jobs, until finally he found work with a trunk maker. It was there inside a small workshop filled with the scent of wood shavings that he built the first pieces of a legacy that would outlive him by centuries. But here's the part many people don't know. Louis's success wasn't an overnight miracle. Behind the scenes, the early Vuitton family fought intense battles with competitors who copied their designs, sabotaged their shipments, and tried to crush their business before it even began. To protect his growing reputation, Louis created a secret signature, a pattern only he could craft. But imitation grew so aggressive that his son Georges later invented something even more iconic, the LV monogram. Not just a logo, but a weapon, a shield against counterfeits. A design meant to lock out enemies who wanted to steal the family craft. However, the biggest rivalries were not always outside the company. Over the years, internal power struggles quietly shaped the brand. Some versions of the story say that after Louis died, tensions built between family members who wanted to honor tradition and those who wanted expansion at any cost. The elegant image hid a war of ideas: preserve the old ways, or chase global domination. That battle would echo for decades, even as the brand grew. But the greatest turning point came nearly a century later, when Louis Vuitton faced a threat far bigger than copycats or competition. In the mid-20th century, the company reached a dangerous moment. Fashion was changing, American influence was rising, and luxury was no longer just for the European elite. The brand was struggling to stay relevant. Some insiders feared that the world had outgrown the trunk maker from France. Sales weakened, stores emptied, and behind the scenes, the company was running out of time. Then, a secret move changed everything. In the 1970s, the family reached out to a man who would later be known as the Wolf in Cashmere, Bernard Arnault. At the time, he was not yet the billionaire titan the world would come to recognize, but he had a reputation, a strategist ruthlessly devoted to winning, a businessman who once bought a struggling company just to fire thousands of people and seize control of its assets. When he entered the Louis Vuitton orbit, it was not with softness, it was with calculation. What followed was one of the most aggressive and controversial corporate battles in luxury history. To save Louis Vuitton, Arnault orchestrated a merger between the family business and Moët Hennessy. The union created a new powerhouse, LVMH, but the deal didn't go smoothly. Executives tried to block him, shareholders resisted his ideas, and yet, quietly, piece by piece, Arnault gained control. Some say he used alliances, others claim he used pressure. Many believe he simply outsmarted everyone in the room. In the end, he secured his position and took command of the entire operation. This was not just a business move, it was a takeover, and it sparked internal scandals so intense that newspapers in Europe called it the luxury war. Boardrooms split, lawsuits flew, and stories began to surface that Arnault was willing to do whatever it took, even if it meant turning allies into enemies. When the dust settled, he emerged as the most powerful figure in modern luxury, and Louis Vuitton would never be the same again. Under his shadow, the company transformed from a quiet French brand into a global empire. But behind the shiny storefronts and celebrity endorsements, another secret strategy unfolded, one rarely acknowledged publicly. Louis Vuitton discovered that the biggest driver of demand was scarcity, even artificial scarcity. So the company quietly began to destroy unsold bags rather than discount them. Thousands of dollars in goods burned, shredded, erased, not because they were flawed, but because the illusion of exclusivity had to remain untouched. And that wasn't the only secret strategy. Insiders say the brand placed strict control over which celebrities could be associated with it. Not every star could wear an LV bag, not every influencer could promote it, and sometimes the company refused partnerships simply to keep the brand feeling rare, untouchable, and above the noise. The luxury wasn't just in the product, it was in the distance. But there was another scandal that shook the company much later, one that surprised many American fans. When Louis Vuitton expanded aggressively into the US, critics began to question its labor practices and environmental impact. Reports surfaced about the brand's factories, the chemicals used in tanning leather, and the impact of fast-growing luxury demand. For a company built on elegance, these stories revealed a far more complicated truth. Beauty has a cost, and sometimes that cost is hidden. Yet, despite the controversies, despite the rivalries, takeovers, copycats, scandals, and secrets, Louis Vuitton became something unforgettable. The brand didn't just survive, it conquered. It embedded itself into pop culture, American music, Hollywood, and the global imagination, a symbol not only of wealth, but of desire, aspiration, and cultural influence. Today, when you walk past a Louis Vuitton store in New York or Los Angeles or Miami, you see polished surfaces, perfectly arranged displays, and a calm, luxurious glow. But what you don't see is the journey it took to get there. The boy who walked across France, the family battles, the secret strategies, the corporate wars that nearly tore it apart, and the billionaire who rebuilt the empire piece by piece, even when the world doubted him. Because the truth is this, Louis Vuitton is more than a brand. It's a story written in shadows and bright lights, triumph and conflict, legacy and reinvention, a reminder that behind every symbol of luxury, there is a price, a secret, a fight that shaped it. And as the world continues to change faster, louder, more unpredictable than ever, one question remains. If this is what Louis Vuitton has revealed so far, what else is still hidden behind the monogram?